Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel once again. So I've come here with a new playlist that will include the above topic that I've included here for you all. So today I'm going to explain you about what is Azure, why Azure, what are the benefits of using this cloud computing, what are the different compute services of Azure, resource manager, pricing calculator. Okay, so without wasting time, let's begin with our study for today. Okay. So to begin with, we already know that what is Azure these days, it is very booming, very cost effective. So what is the as a cloud computing and not the other computing resources or the computing platform which we already have. So it's very cost effective and it supports multiple languages like C Sharp, Java, and Node.js, etc. And there are many more. So Azure is one of the trusted 90%, means trusted by 90% of the companies these days. Like it's around fortune of 500 companies. So it also has one of the more benefit that gives you and that gives you an additional advantages that it can operate across near about 44 regions and 140 countries. So this benefit you will never find in any other cloud. So it's a Microsoft Cloud Azure that is providing you these kind of benefits that has Azure regions and availability zones that saves you at the time when you have a disaster happening, when you need a backup of your servers, everything. So when I talk about availability zones, uh, okay, Okay, so it's like the Azure, there are the multiple Azure regions. As I mentioned, in 54 regions, we can deploy our resources. If we are facing some issues in one of the data center, we can just switch to the other data center and it will all set to go. You don't have to worry about your data loss or anything. You can recover in a very fraction of seconds. So what the availability zones is, it's like a major global region than any other cloud provider. So region has are actually a physical locations where Azure data centers are being placed. So if one data center is going down and it's not working, you can quickly switch to your another data center. Okay, and it ensures high availability and the availability during the disaster. So so that actually physically separate locations, okay, within the Azure region. So whatever the region you are deploying your resources, it will physically separate those locations within the Azure region, and each with its own independent power, cooling, network infrastructure. They actually providing you the higher level of redundancy as compared to any other region availability zones. Okay, so this global presence of Azure is allowing us or allowing the business to deploy their applications closer to their user, improving the performance and reliability. So, if I talk about the Microsoft Azure services, so we have multiple services when it comes to Azure. So we'll discuss one by one. Okay, so let's talk about Azure services here. Okay, so let's begin from the scratch. Okay, so if I talk about Azure services, so Azure services are grouped into domain based on the business needs. So the main domains of the Azure, if talk about, so the very first domain is Microsoft Azure services. Okay, so very first domain is compute domain. Okay, the other one is the networking. The other one is the storage. So these are divided into the different categories of the services that are provided by the Azure on the basis of the business requirements and their needs. Again, we have database. Okay, So all these services that are defined by the Microsoft Azure are being managed by none other than Azure Resource Services. It's actually a manager that is managing the Azure resources, and everything is managed by Azure, and we don't have to worry about the maintenance. So this is actually making and managing the cloud infrastructure very simple, very scalable and structured. So let me walk you through the Azure portal once so that you can view the resources that I've described here. So this is our Azure portal. This is how it looks like. So you can see when I've clicked on these arrows, we can see the different services and how Azure is divided into all these services. So if I talk about the resource manager, so it's a resource manager that will be managing all your resources, all your subscription types, etc. So now if I talk about all services, what currently the services are being provided by the Azure. So you can see that it has been divided into different components. So we have many components. So we'll be one by one talking about the different components. If I talk about the compute services, so you can see, as I already discussed in previous videos, that we have IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS services that are provided in the Azure. So if I talk about IaaS, we have these many lists down of the services. If I talk about the PaaS, it is here. We also have a serverless microservices and the computing services, and we again have a hybrid cloud. So we'll go one by one in the separate playlist, and you'll get to know about all the services in details, and you'll be able to learn many things from here. So guys, if you want to stay updated, please like, please subscribe my channel so that you can view all the information, you can learn and you can grow. Thank you.